Hello. All right. So welcome to this video, and I'm going to share with you how to let go and forgive without bypassing. Right. This is a topic that has been coming up lately in my life, in my clients, in my group, in the coherent circle that I run every Wednesday night, and in my own life as well, right? And I'm seeing this topic more relevant than usual because we are definitely in a phase where old structures, foundations is crumbling down, and we are stepping into a new direction, a new life, new paradigm, and that requires us to step into the unknown, to take a leap of faith. Yet at the same time, there's things lingering in the past that is holding us back. And also because we fear the unknown, we don't know what to expect next, and there's no such safety net moving forward. We are kind of stuck in the limbo of things, and we're neither this or that. And this makes us feel really, really anxious. And the thing is, we do not know which voice to listen in our head, which advice to take. Everything is confusing, and basically it's basically kind of like a shit show to be in this space. But at the same time, coming from someone who have experienced this multiple times in his life, I'm just gonna say this, that it's actually a grace of the universe, the grace of God. Whatever crisis you're going through, whatever you're letting go, whatever you're grieving, whatever relationships, businesses, opportunities, interactions, circumstances, situation that you think might be good for you and is crumbling down, is actually the way life, universe, higher intelligence, God, whatever name you put on it, protecting you so that you come home to who you are and continue to walk the path of greatest authenticity and greatest excitement. And you're not gonna feel it right now because you're in the mess of things, but this chaos that you're experiencing, this breakdown you're experiencing, it is and will be your greatest breakthrough. And moving on to the as you move your life towards the unknown and you step into very simple, practical steps, step by step, to get to where you want to be, you thank this moment. And this video that you're listening right now is going to give you a lot of good context on how you let go, forgive, so that you can be present and be your best self at every step of the way and really, really enjoy the journey you're in. So I'm going to cover 5 things, right? Why is it important to let go? Number 2, why can't we let go even if we want to? Number 3, what's the biggest mistake that we make when it comes to letting go? And number 4, 5 signs that I'm going to share with you that you have truly let go and that you're not bypassing this thing and it's not stuck in your system, in your body, in your nervous system, or in your energy field. And last but not least, right, what are those actual 5 steps on letting go, right? So let me just start with, okay, why is letting go important? Why is it in all spiritual texts we say, come back to the present moment, let go of the past, don't just bury things underneath inside of you, forgive easily, right? And don't hold grudges and so on and so forth. There's definitely wisdom around it. But most often than not, these statements are being thrown around like blanket statements, just being like words that you tell someone or advise someone, just let go, just surrender, just do the things, feel the fear and do it anyway. And easier said than done, right? And you know it inside of yourself as well, because there's a part of you, I'm sure, that says, just let go, just move on. I understand this thing, but why can't I really truly let go? Why do I feel like shit? Why do I still feel like there's this baggage in my chest, in my shoulders, in my lower back, in my knees that is still preventing me from moving forward? The reason is because your body is completely honest. The body doesn't lie. The body keeps score. Even sometimes when we think we have let go or bypassed some things, and then when we go forward and move through our life, oh my God, there's another layer of grief. There's another layer of hurt. There's another layer of things. When will this end? I mean, I don't know, to be honest, when it will end. Maybe perhaps it will not end. So let me give you a context on why this is really an important thing. Because the pain, fear, and stress in our life is not something that we want to get rid of. It has wisdom, it has its own place in the human experience, and you'll notice that the more you try to resist this, the more it persists. So the point of letting go is not that you don't feel the pain, fear, and stress anymore, because that is just avoidance. And if you're coming from the intention of avoiding, denying, and just wanting to just, you know, not see this and just look at the positive, most of the time, eventually this thing will circle back around, you know, take one circle and come back and bite you in the ass. So there's all these layers that we need to peel and let go. Now here's the thing, right? Our body is designed to heal, regenerate, and be whole, and it has its own wisdom if you allow it to completion. If you allow it to completion. Meaning what? To be honest, to let go an emotion, it only takes 90 seconds, but for some reason, some of us take years, take months, take weeks, because we keep replaying the emotion in our head over and over and over again. Right? Science have shown that 90 seconds is all we need to switch off the amygdala in our brain to say that this is not alarming anymore. But most often than not, we keep replaying that 90 seconds for years and years and aeons, sometimes even lifetimes. Kind of crazy, right? So what does that mean? That means that your body is trying to let go of things, but for some reason there's a part of you that is still replaying that button and you're not allowing it to let go. Here's the reason why animals let go faster than humans, right? Let me just give you an example, right? When a deer is being chased by a predator, a lion or a tiger, right? When it's done chasing and it survives, you know what the deer do? It shakes it off. It basically sometimes lie dead for a moment. It shakes it off, and then it just goes about in its own day as if the tiger has never chased the deer, because it knows how to let go, release that primal fear, anxiety that is so important for the deer to survive and gives energy to the muscles to run, right? But after it's done with that thing, it knows how to shake it off, regulate, and come back to center. But why us humans don't do that, right? Other than the fact that we're living a sedentary life and our city life and environment is not conducive to help us regulate our nervous system, we are currently going through something what I call maladaptive stress reaction, meaning that we are not adapting well to stress. When we need to fight, we ended up freezing. When we need to hold back, freeze, we ended up fighting, right? So we do not adapt to stress, and and our actions and intentions are not aligning with the situation at hand. So when that happens, right, we blow up out of context. Let me just give you an example, right? Maybe someone has transgressed your boundaries and have, you know, took advantage of you, but because you want to be a nice and kind person, you did not, and you know you're angry, but you did not say what you needed to say, you did not confront, you did not lead yourself and protect yourself, and ended up, you know, you swallow all of that inside of you, right? And then when that situation is done and forgotten, right, then there's another situation that has happened. Maybe it has nothing to do with you, maybe it has nothing to do with that person, but for some reason you're irritated, annoyed, and frustrated, and then suddenly you blow up, and then it's out of context, right? And some of us don't even blow up, right? Some of us keep holding in and keep taking all of this energy like a big bubble, and eventually we develop chronic pain, chronic tension, chronic illness, chronic disease, and for some reason we start to feel allergic to everything. Here is just, you know, a correlation between behaviors, relationship, emotions, and then your physical body. So the point is that animals know how to shake it off, let go right away, and come back to the present moment, and then move on in their life as if the past has never happened, right? And for some of us, it stays stuck. And this is important because we want to show up as our best self at every single moment so that we can make choices that is aligned to our heart's greatest desire. But what happens when we are accumulated with all those memories of emotions that is stuck and linger in our system? We don't see the truth anymore. We start seeing beliefs, right? We start seeing what we think we want, what things should be, and how reality should be. So we ended up not accepting the present moment and projecting something that is still lingering in our past in the present, hence looping ourselves in the past over and over and over again, and this is why we can't let go, right? So another reason why this is so important for us to let go is that if you have experienced being in the same place, being in a different place, different relationship, different people, different workspace, different circumstances, but for some reason you stay stuck in the same level of experience, You still feel frustrated, anxious, people betray you, people, ignore you, you feel like you're not enough. The emotional experience tend to be the same, and then we call it karma. If you have experienced that, right, it goes to show that the common denominator is not your external environment. The common denominator is you, and you're stuck in a certain perception, and the perception is giving you a subjective reality that you think is the truth, but it's not. You're actually in a different situation, circumstance, and place, right? And this is why we ended up with different relationships, but we seem to attract the same character, and ended up people mistreating us in the same way. And there's nothing more important to understand that rather than blaming those people, right, it's time to take ownership and responsibility in who you are, right? So if you don't want this to repeat, we have to learn how to let go and forgive. Now, letting go and forgive is not condoning anybody's action, right? It's not like, yeah, I'm just gonna forget, It's really about learning from the lessons, from the wisdom, so that you can change your behavior and as well as who you think you are, your identity, to show up differently next time, so that you are stepping into a new reality that serves you rather than go against you. So now, the next thing, why can't we let go, truly let go, even if we want to? Right? Because letting go is not a mental activity, right? It has to be a deep emotional activity to a point where there's a shift of perception. Let me explain that, right? Imagine that you want to let go of something or someone, right? And you tell yourself that you want to let go that person or that someone, and then you go about your day, and then you set good intentions to let go, and then you feel good in the first place. But for some reason, when you circle around and you come back to meet this same person, same situation, you're triggered again, right? That is when you know that you're not actually fully, truly let go, despite your best intention, because there's an emotional reaction to things. You still see that person and that situation in the same way. So let me break this down. Letting go has no on and off switch. You can't just go and say, click, all right, I've let go of you. All right, I've let go of this thing, even though that is the first step. That is through your best intention, that's what you can do. But you have not truly let go yet. And this is why, this is where in the body's perspective, things have not gone into completion. So in everything that we are letting go, that we're trying to let go, we're not trying to let go that person, that situation. We're trying to let go the emotional attachment that we have about that person or that situation. Get it? Right? The emotional attachment, the emotional experiences. And usually when we are emotional, right, there's usually a sense of judgment, the need to be right about that certain things. And this is when we know that we have not truly let go yet. We periodically maybe will think about this thing and we get triggered, we complain about it, we will think about it, we'll think what is supposed to be, what is right, rather than seeing things as they are. And why do we judge? Why do we feel like we will fight for justice, or we want things a certain way? And the crazy thing is that our ego will find the most logical solutions, explanation to justify that judgment that you have about that person. And this is exactly the activity in our brain that continues to perpetuate the emotions in 90 seconds over and over and over again. So if you really want to let go, you have to let go the need to be right, the need to be righteous about things, right? We have to stop playing the judge, the persecutor, and stop imposing our beliefs about that thing to others and even to ourselves. And why are we doing this from a psychological perspective? It's really because that we have a certain vulnerability that we are trying to protect, right? Imagine judgment is the outer layer. It's actually protecting a certain emotional vulnerability, right? That we are not ready to feel. We are not ready to feel, right? Means why are we not ready to feel this vulnerability is because we have certain needs that is not met. Maybe there's this feeling that maybe you're not feeling worthy enough to feel this feeling. Maybe you're not feeling safe enough to feel this feeling, right? In the Lifeline technique, we have learned that there are all these different needs, right? The openness, the readiness, the willingness, the commitment, the deservingness, right? There's more of it, right? There's all these different needs that we need, basic psychological human needs, before we are feeling safe to process these emotions. Until that is met, we'll continue to judge, we'll continue to perpetuate the emotion, and the system will not shift to truly let go from a physical body perspective, right? So if there's a sense of vulnerability protecting the outer layer, then internally the core of it has a hurt, a memory of a hurt that is unprocessed, and it requires you, right, to understand what need you need to give to yourself so that you feel safe in the vulnerability to re-experience the hurt, but this time not from a shock perspective, not from a fear perspective, from a love perspective, right? And the biggest mistake we can make, doing this is to expect something outside of us to fulfill this internal need that needs to be sourced from you, right? So I'm trying to say, until you take full responsibility of the hurt inside of you, without making it about others or about the world, and stop projecting your hurt into the world, you will continue to perpetuate, and this is what we call karma. There will be a cause and effect. You'll make choices a certain way, intend a certain way, act and behave a certain way, even though it sounds logical and strategic and maybe even drive you towards success, but eventually this will burn you out. You feel frustrated, unfulfilled, empty, until you come home to yourself and really meet this hurt that is living inside of you. Now, this hurt is unintentional, and it did not begin with you. It did not even start with you sometimes. And through the studies of epigenetics, we have learned that we carry all of this hurt intergenerationally. And if you believe in past lives, we carry multiple layers of hurt in our past lives, so that in this life we work on it so that we can liberate ourselves. And why this hurt exists? This hurt exists because it is a required catalyst to evolve our consciousness in this human physical body so that we can be divine spiritual beings in this physical form, right? And that is just from a spiritual perspective, but this hurt is just a basic human experience, and until you can accept it as it is, to see the reality as it is rather than your own infatuation that to live a life without hurt, pain, fear, stress, right? Until you do that, that's when this hurt liberates. Now here's the amazing thing. Within every wound is where your greatest gifts lies. The hurt is there so that you can tap into the creative potential inside of you, so that you can truly express your most authentic gifts. And this is what it feels like to come home to yourself, because there's a deep yearning to remember that. But before you can actually feel that, you have to go through the hurt. And when this hurt is met with loving thoughts, loving behavior, needs are met, you feel safe, you feel deserving, you feel worthy, you're committed, you're open, ready, willing, you're safe, that's when the hurt transforms into wisdom. Your wounds become wisdom. Your wounds also, and your hurt becomes as well your greatest gift to the world. And here's the thing that happens. You start to feel fulfilled, free, peaceful, amazing, powerful, worthy from within. And you'll notice that there's this sense of calmness and inner peace no matter how chaotic the external world is. That is the most powerful state, and that's when you know there's a radical identity shift. You become a different level of person, and you start seeing the world in a different way because your perception has changed. Consciousness changes, perception changes, the way you make choices, intend, behave changes. That's when you start manifesting your heart's greatest desire. Right. So here are 5 signs to know that we know that you truly have let go. I've already mentioned it. Number 1, the perception change, right? The way you see the previous situation, circumstances, or person has changed. What you used to believe has changed. And there is this feeling where you start to accept that person as it is, to see who they are. They're neither good or bad, maybe both at the same time, and you accept them as they are, not what you wish or expect them to be. Number two, you'll notice that your nervous system, your body stops bracing, the tension starts to let go, your body relaxes, and this increases your recovery tenfolds, 20folds, and many-folds, right? And this is where some of us can feel like the spontaneous healing. Suddenly I am feeling there's more energy, which is the third thing that I want to mention. Because you have more energy, you start to feel more motivated, you start to feel creative, happy for no absolute reason. You just wake up fully alive and you're ready to go. And you know, in some ways, when you recognize and reconcile the hurt within you, you start to want to share this with everybody around you, because we are communal beings, we are mammals, and we want to help everybody out. The fourth thing is that when we actually go out there and share our energy with people, we take action, inspired action, synchronicity and serendipity starts to happen. You're in the right place, in the right time, with the right people. Yes, certain people will fall away, certain situations, circumstances will fall away. You stop trying to let go of things because things are starting to let go of you, right? And then you start to invite new things into your life, and for some reason, things just happen according to your heart's greatest desire, but not the way you think it is. The form may not be what you think it is, but it is exactly the thing that you want to manifest. Right? Last but not least, you're going to start to become more influential, more magnetic, and the sign is like someone will come up to you, hey, there's something different about you. There's something about your energy. There's something about your voice. There's something about your looks. There's something about your presence that I'm attracted to. And that is when you know you're influential and magnetic, and this is what letting go does for you. Right? And this is so powerful, and this is why we need to actually learn those methods, those practices, because like I said before, there's no on-off switch of letting go. So how do you truly let go? What are those steps you need to take to let go? Right? Like I said, there's no on-off switch, but you can create conducive environment so that the chances for you to let go are at a higher rate, right? In fact, letting go is not a one-time thing, it's an ongoing process, because the synonym for letting go is to be present, is to stop thinking, feeling, behaving from the past, but but to be fully present. It's so that you get out of the familiar past and the predictable future, and you stay in the present. And when that happens, you really don't know what's going to happen next, right? You're in this you're sitting in the unknown, you're sitting in the uncertainty. That's what being present feels like. And let me just give you a mindset shift around the word unknown and uncertainty, because it brings up a lot of fear in people. The unknown and uncertainty is what I call the doorway to infinite possibilities, right? Because when you're there, new possibility comes out. That means new possibility means new things can come through your life as long as you're present. So how do you actually create this conducive environment? What are those practices to help you increasing the likelihood of letting go, right? I talk about this from a 5 different environment perspective: mental, emotional, relational, physical, and spiritual, right? So let me just go through that whole thing. From a mental perspective, right, you have to learn how to accept and observe. When you don't know usually when you're letting go, but you know exactly when you are not letting go, because that's a moment of tension, that's the moment of pain, that's the moment of like struggle. The first thing you have to do is to name it, accept it, and observe it. The moment you observe something, the moment you name something, you actually create some distance, some space between you and the story you're telling yourself. And you start to recognize that you are not the story, you are not the emotion, you are not your thoughts. So you don't have to believe everything that is coming through in your experience. That's the first step. And that's from a mental perspective. It takes a little bit of mental agility and resilience to actually work on this. And this is why the basic practice in many traditions is to meditate. It's so that you learn how to cultivate attention and focus, and it's not driven by all the triggers in your external environment. Number 2, your emotional environment, which is really about what Coherence Circle is all about, right? It's a heart gym, it's a heart-brain gym, and we learn to connect with our emotions, meet it halfway, process it, regulate our nervous system, and connect it with love and gratitude, right? And sometimes when we stay stuck in a place of, deep, painful emotions, I will always ask myself, right, what's the good that I'm not seeing? And beyond that, I think good practices are like somatic practices where you come back to your body, you let yourself feel the emotions without fixing it, judging it, resisting it, denying it, avoiding it, just really being present with emotions, and then eventually allow the emotions to go into completion, right? Again, this takes a lot of practice. This is why Coherent Circle is there, so that we can actually, learn how to process emotions in real time in our life. That's when real transformation happens, by the way, right? The third thing is the relational environment. As much as good as we can do to do this inner work, we need to bring this inner coherence to our external life, to our relationships, right? Otherwise, if we keep putting ourselves in the same toxic environment, toxic relationship, no matter how many inner work that you do, you will still stay stuck. And no matter how many letting go you try to do, you will still stay stuck, because these people are continuously deepening your attachment, deepening your pain and hurt, and not going to give you those needs that you need internally, right? So the third thing that a good practice is to learn how to speak your truth, learn how to draw boundaries, learn how to take risks, and have those deep, meaningful conversations that we avoid all the time. I've seen this in so many relationships, whether it's business partnership, husband and wife, friendships, parents and children, is that they're not having the conversations that they're needing to have, right? And no one is going to have the conversation but you, because you are the one that is more conscious and more intentional. So you have to be the one to take those risks. And I remember guiding so many different of people coming my way to help them to understand how to lead those conversations with confidence and presence and compassion, and how to actually hold that emotional integrity while you have this conversation, because the greatest transformation happens in those moments, right? And also, just to share with you, not all relationships needs to be quote unquote fixed. Not everybody's going to have that conversation with you, and this is why we also need to have the courage to leave certain people, situations, and places, right, for our own sanity, because it's not your job to save others, it's your job to save yourself, right? On the fourth environment, which is the physical environment, which is what I call somatic practices, the best way to learn how to let go when you can't let go is to move and breathe, to shake it off, right? To run it off, right? But this is not running for the sake of running, shaking for the sake of shaking, moving for the sake of moving, or breathing for the sake of breathing. It's supplementary to all the other steps that I've mentioned, right? And from a physical perspective, if you can put yourself in physical environments like nature, the river, the mountains, the chances are for you to regulate your nervous system increases likelihood, right? So from time to time, ground yourself on earth's energy, let yourself go to nature, and this will actually help you from a physical perspective. Last but not least, right, from a spiritual perspective, is to understand and accept your human experience, your human suffering, your human hurt. Like I said, the hurt did not start with you, it started long time, and for some reason you are chosen to release this pain and understand whatever healing that you're doing for yourself is not just for yourself, it's for everybody around you, that everybody that you walk around, that you touch as you walk around, in the world, right? So from a spiritual perspective, right, it's really about evolving your ego, right? Evolving the ego that is attached with all this emotional baggage, and stepping into a new identity, a new level of purpose for you to show up in the world more and more and more authentically. And the practice to that is basically all the four environments that I've mentioned, right? But most importantly, right, is to be willing to understand who is that spiritual self that you're trying to awaken inside of you, right? There's a soul, there's a path inside of you that is desiring to express itself. There's a creative potential inside of you. So basically, the letting go, the crisis, the problems, the struggles, the relationship are all catalysts, triggers to wake this person up. The moment you wake this person up inside of you, this higher self inside of you, a lot of those things will start to shift. Not saying that there will not be any more pain, fear, and stress and struggles in the world, because there's always the next level of evolution. But you come into a place of an appreciation that despite whatever is going on in your life, the love, the gratitude, the inner peace inside of you cannot be taken away by anybody else but you, right? So you start to shift this identity from being a victim, oh, poor me, everything is, a problem to a state where I take full responsibility for everything that happens in my life. And that, my friend, is a moment where you feel fully liberated, truly free. Despite that, right, you have the force of the universe guiding you, protecting you at every single time. And the 5 signs that I've mentioned, right, will continue to be part of your daily experience. So there's a lot that I've unpacked here when it comes to letting go. And my invitation for you is to periodically come back to this video over and over again. In fact, take notes and start inquiring what are those different aspects that I've mentioned here are happening in your life, and see if you can make minor tweaks, minor adjustments, minor alignments, so that whatever knowledge that is being shared here stays relevant to you and it creates real transformation in real time for you, right? Let this not just be an educational information that just comes in. Let it sink in deeper and deeper and deeper. So revisit this video over and over again until you feel like, I finally understand what letting go is. I finally understand what Chiron is saying. So this is it, and I'll see you guys in the next perfect time. And if you want to continue to, right, receive all this video, all these insights, then subscribe to my YouTube channel, as I will be putting up more of these videos. Thank you guys. I'll see you guys soon.